RPN is not responsible for the views, actions, statements, or opinions of its guests, advertisers, or even its viewers. The information contained in this program is not to be construed as medical or legal advice. An appearance on this show is not necessarily an endorsement, but as always, we encourage you to do your own research. Enjoy the show. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a special Red Pill 78 live report. Do me a favor, share this everywhere, you guys, because this is an unscheduled broadcast. Joining me tonight, Dominion Voting Systems whistleblower, Melissa Carone. She witnessed massive voter fraud taking place in Detroit, Michigan. She's here to tell her story tonight for the very first time. Let me tell you guys, this is what I have been teasing for the last couple of days. It is quite the story, and I think that when you guys hear it, you're not only going to be shocked, but you're going to be very, very angry. They quite literally tried to rig a federal election to steal this presidency from Donald J. Trump and hand it over to Joseph Biden. Give me a break. Once again, share this everywhere. Make sure you tweet it. Make sure you put it on Facebook. Put it on Gab. Anywhere that you can post it. All right, guys, without further ado, please join me in welcoming our guest for this evening, Melissa Carone, a current employee or a former employee of Dominion Voting Systems? Former, okay. All right, Melissa, thank you so much for joining us, and I really appreciate you coming on the show. I'm sure that this is been a crazy time for you. I mean, not many people have access to this level of fraud and deceit. Please just give the audience a brief introduction to who you are so that they can, get to know you a little bit.
Hi, my name is Melissa Carone. I do IT work. I have a background in cybersecurity, and I'm a mother. And I'm just here because what I witnessed is very crucial information, and I'm here just to stand up for America.
Okay, awesome. Well, once again, I appreciate you coming on here. I also think that we should note that you were actually scheduled tonight to do an interview with Sean Hannity on Fox News, and for some reason, they decided to cancel the interview. Is that right?
That is right. Yeah, it was very last minute. It was a half an hour before the show started.
Wow.
The producer was very combative. I had 3 different producers calling me. It was some asking me questions that we'll get into, I'm sure.
Yeah. All right. So do you think that they doubted your story, or do you think that they just didn't want the information to come out?
I don't think that they doubted it at all. I think that they were scared of the content of my story.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get right into it. So, you are an IT specialist. You were working for Dominion. Now, are you like a regular, or pardon me, were you a regular employee at Dominion, or were you a contract employee hired specifically for the election?
Yes, I was a contract employee hired specifically for the election. Yes.
Okay, all right. And was there a lot of training that you had to go through to do this, or did they just expect that you were just going to be able to come in and work on the computers? I mean, it makes me think that there should be a lot of security involved in something like this, and if you're going to have people around this kind of data, maybe you'd want to fill them in on what you should and shouldn't do.
Right. Okay. So the training was literally an hour tops, and we were handed a binder with paperwork, and we were told to read it. We were not allowed to touch any hardware at all. We were there strictly to assist the poll workers, the
Okay.
counters.
All right. Wow, that's crazy. I mean, so they weren't worried about systems going down or anything? I mean, did they have anybody actually working on the systems?
Actually, the systems did go down
Okay.
twice. um, it was a row of computers. Somebody tripped on a cord, and
Okay.
the systems were down. Did they have anybody working on their computers, you say?
Yeah.
No,
No.
no. Detroit had their own IT team that
Okay.
consisted of 3 employees that were walking around doing the exact same thing that I was.
Okay. All right. So, in assisting the poll workers, what were you expected to do?
So the mail-in ballots, when they're ran through the tabulating machine, um, they get jammed a lot. I'd say 4 to 5 times in an hour each. The ballots are handed to the counters in stacks of 50, and they're referred to as a batch. So when they're handed the batch, they, they have to make sure that they're, take your paperwork and
Neat and tidy. Yeah.
yeah, and or it won't go through the tabulating machine. And they also cannot have any kind of like, when you pull a piece of paper from a notebook and it has the fringes on the side, it can't have any of that, or it won't go through. Um, a lot of reasons why they wouldn't go through. Something spilled on it,
Sure.
something like that. Yeah.
All right. How long were you there working before you saw something that gave you pause, that made you think something's not right?
I was there about 2 hours working before I noticed that there was some major problems.
All right. Well, and what were those problems?
Well, you want me to start with?
Yeah, we can go right through. Yeah.
Well, okay, we'll start with the first problem that I did notice. The first problem I noticed was like I said, the ballots are handed to the counters in stacks of 50, referred to as a batch.
Mm-hmm.
When the counters get the batch, they set it on the tabulating machine, which really they call it a scanner.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't refer to it as a tabulator. That's just how they refer to it.
Sure.
So the tabulator will take the ballots, pick them up, and scan through them,
Mm-hmm.
and the ones that are already that are being tabulated will go on the top of the machine, and then the ones on the bottom, are pulling through.
Sure.
Okay, so we're going to use ballot number 25 as the problem ballot,
Okay.
just as an example. Okay.
So the middle of the stack.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So if ballot number 25 had, say, wine spilled on it,
Mm-hmm.
and a stain from it, the computer would throw up an error that says, ballot number 25, error, it'll say discard or rescan. So the proper way to go about this is to take ballot number 25, pull it out slowly because it would get jammed if there was a problem with it too.
Mm-hmm.
So I would tell them, the worker, to, pull it out slowly, make sure you don't rip it. Take ballot number 25 and the 24 ballots that were already tabulated on top of the tabulator,
mm-hmm.
and put them all back in a stack of 50. Put ballot number 25 on top and hit discard, and then rescan, right?
Okay, so it's a fresh scan. That first 24 that you scanned, it's like you didn't even scan it.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So, and the reason for taking the problem ballot and putting it on top is just to save time, because, if that ballot doesn't go through again, it's going to be on the very top.
And you'll find out right away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I walked past one of the counters, and his machine had a number. So there's going to be a number on the left-hand side of the machine, on the left-hand side of their computer sitting in front of them, that's going to show a total number of ballots that were tabulated on that tabulator, which could be any number, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Then on the right-hand side, there's going to be a number that should never go over 50,
mm-hmm.
because the batches come in 50.
Sure.
Well, his number was in the 500s.
Oh, wow.
So I said, stop, stop. Don't even touch anything. I'll be right back. I have to go grab my manager because this is a big problem.
Mm-hmm.
What that meant was that every ballot that he had in that batch of 50 had been scanned 8 to 10 times.
Right.
Counted 8 to 10 times.
Okay, so those ballots were duplicated 8 to 10 times, which resulted in far more votes than were actually taken in.
Absolutely. And that was one person that I saw their number.
Yeah.
Now, this happened countless times, because I don't think I told you this. I started work at 6 a.m. and I worked a 24-hour shift.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was there for the day shift and the night shift. And then I went home to get some sleep, returned at 10 a.m. and worked till 2 p.m. And then I was done on the 4th.
And just to interject, how many people were running these tabulators?
So about approximately 40.
40. Okay, so this could have happened a lot.
Oh, it happened. It happened. It's I couldn't even tell you how many times it happened.
Too many to count.
It happened. When I was walking, I confronted my manager. My manager came over. I can say my manager's name. I don't work for the company.
Sure. I mean, if it's publicly available information, then yeah, that's
It is. His name is Nick,
okay.
And he's also a co-owner of the company of Dominion Voting.
Oh.
And yeah.
Okay.
And
what did he tell you to do?
He pulled. So I brought him over and I said, Nick. I said, we have a huge problem here. And he said, Melissa, can I talk to you over here for a second? And he pulled me aside and he said, the last thing I want to hear is that we have a huge problem. He goes, and we are here to assist with IT. We are not here to run their election.
Holy smokes.
So I at that point, I was just shocked, and I watched to see what he was going to do, you know, if he was going to take care of it. He didn't. He literally walked away.
So since you said that Nick is a co-owner of Dominion, I mean, that's very publicly information. I mean, can you tell us his last name? Because I feel like it's worth
Yeah,
Nick
I
Jensen?
can. No. I'm sorry. So his last name is spelled IkonomAKIS.
Okay, you're gonna have to give that to me again. I need to open up a new tab so that I can
Yeah,
search for
yeah.
this.
I didn't
Okay.
want to.
Okay, so
Okay.
Nick
IKON.
IK
O-N as in Nancy.
ON
O-M
OM
A-K
AK
I-S.
IS. Wow. Okay. Not
He's
too many
a
people with
patent-
his name, I would imagine.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
He's a patent holder too.
Vice President of Development at Dominion.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, so he never came out and told me that he was a co-owner of the company.
Okay.
That was inside information that I was given by two of the employees that I was working with that were full-time employees of Dominion.
Okay.
Not contracted. And I was the only person contracted in actually at that location.
Okay. All right. So after you alert him to the fact that there is a massive miscounting going on, the only thing he's interested in, is the appearance of things running smooth. Was that the only problem you witnessed, or was there more?
Oh, there's several more.
All right. What's the next thing?
Okay. So when one of the counters could not read a ballot, say, like I said, so let's use number 25 still, okay? Say number 25 would still not run through the tabulator. Well, that employee would go get a blank ballot and fill it out as they pleased without a Republican or a Democrat next to them judging, and sign the signature of the voter.
Forging the voter's signature.
Yes. I witnessed that all day and all night.
Did you notice a pattern with the votes that they were forging?
I sure did. So, yeah, this was crazy. Now, one time in a 24-hour shift, did I see a single ballot for Trump? Not one time.
Can you approximate how many ballots that might have been?
That they signed?
Yes, that they might have signed over that 24-hour shift.
Thousands. Wow. There was a white table that we were supposed to direct them to. That was for they were calling them the duplicate ballots.
Okay. And it's incredible. It's incredible to think that they were doing that. What else did you notice?
Okay, so
the oversight.
Okay, yeah, that's a big one. So I'm gonna give you another name here.
Okay.
Samuel, and I do have his last name too. If you want it, it's on the affidavit.
Yeah. Samuel.
Samuel was a full-time employee for Dominion, and he had worked there for a couple years. He was really close with Nick. Those two, had talked a lot. You could tell that they were really close.
Okay.
So Samuel and one other person in his mid-20s. Samuel was in his mid-20s. He had just graduated college. I knew that. I knew a little bit of information that had been told to me from coworkers. He and another employee, like I said, in his mid-20s, were responsible for inputting every number into the main PC. So there was a stage in the middle of the room, and that's where all the city workers and the people in charge were standing, and the IT people.
Okay.
So I was on the stage, if I wasn't walking around assisting, I would go on the stage. Well, Samuel and another younger, in mid-20s were responsible for inputting all the ballot numbers into the computer with absolutely no oversight at all. Nobody assisting or watching. Nobody.
And I would assume there was supposed to be minders there with them, like overseeing what they were doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now, at this point, had the Republican poll watchers been moved out of the room? Was this just a free-for-all at this point?
No. So this is still during day shift. Both of those two young gun that I just told you about that were inputting the numbers into the machine, they both worked doubles too. So they did that all day and all night.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what was your question just now?
Oh, was this before or after the Republicans had been forced to exit?
This was before.
Okay.
This is before.
So, was there anybody else that was noticing all of these various discrepancies?
The white van.
I'm gonna tell you, I know this to be a fact.
Okay.
I was the only Republican
Really?
working. Oh, they were making terrible, terrible comments about Republicans, about Trump supporters, anybody that had an American flag on their mask or their shirt.
Yeah.
They were automatically deemed, Trump supporters and racist and, just saying the most awful things. So not one time did I ever come out and give my views on anything.
All right. So they don't like people wearing American flags. I mean, that's just a general symbol of patriotism. But
Right.
Isn't it illegal for poll workers to be wearing any type of insignia for any specific political party? Or
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
And didn't you see that as well?
I did, sir. Yeah, I did. And well, what I saw was a lot of Black Lives Matter masks, a lot of I can't breathe masks, and we all know that that they belong to the Democratic Party.
Of course,
so,
yeah.
I mean, that was huge.
So after you witnessed the people inputting the information without any type of supervision, no oversight, what was the next strange thing that you saw?
The vans.
Okay,
yeah.
These are the vans that dropped off a whole bunch of ballots, right?
Allegedly, yes.
Okay.
So these vans were initially supposed to be there because the city of Detroit was responsible for providing food and lunch for the morning shift and dinner for the night shift.
Okay.
The city of Detroit only had enough food for a third of the workers.
Okay.
On day shift and on night shift. So that was their excuse for bringing these vans in.
Okay.
They were supposedly for food. There is absolutely no way that these vans could have been holding food, carrying that much food for 2/3 of the workers there.
Mm-hmm.
Never, not once did I see food being carried out of any of those vans. Neither one of them.
Really?
No, they were unmarked vehicles. And absolutely no
insignia or
nothing.
did you see a license plate or anything?
I got word that some of the Republican challengers were taking pictures of the license plates. I wasn't. The garage a big garage opened, and these fans came pulling in, but they didn't pull all the way in. They only pulled up, not even to like enter the building.
Sure. Just
So
far enough to empty it out.
Correct. Yeah. So what was coming out of them was coming out of the back of them into the back doors up the stairs.
Okay.
So yeah. And yeah, never ever did I see any kind of food. And with the last van, it was a transit. It was like a grayish color. And that one, right when I got in my car, I turned my radio on. And that's when I had heard that. I'm sorry, did
You're
it cut
good.
out?
Yeah.
That
Just, it's okay.
yeah, that all the new ballots that Detroit had just found. It was just crazy because it was just so obvious. It was just so obvious. Okay, so I'm gonna say another thing that happened on the night shift.
Okay.
I'm sorry. So during the day shift, you are not allowed to leave to walk outside and smoke a cigarette. You cannot do that in a counting room. That is 100% legal. Anything can be carried out or brought in, right?
Okay.
During the day shift, that did not go on at all. Now night shift, right when night shift hit, there was a woman sitting across from me. And like I said, everybody that was on the stage was the higher ups, the city workers that were there running the election. Daniel Baxter was the main one running the election.
Okay.
He's not on my affidavit, by the way.
Okay.
But he the stuff that he allowed to go on and he saw was crazy and just insane.
So this is very important. It wasn't just you didn't simply witness volunteer poll workers mishandling ballots. You also saw City of Detroit employees who should by all rights know what to look for in the mishandling of ballots. You witnessed them overseeing all of this stuff.
Absolutely. Yep. And on the night shift, like I said, that during the day shift, nobody was allowed to go out and smoke and come back. That was not, if you walked out, you weren't coming back. So on night shift, there was a woman sitting across from me on the stage, one of the city workers. She said, "Oh, Melissa, we can go smoke now," because she was a smoker too. And she said, "We can go smoke." And I said, "How?" And she's like, "We can all go smoke. They're letting us leave." And she's like, "I'll walk you to the door if you want to walk with me." And I said, "No, actually, I think I'm fine. I have to go, take care of some stuff over here, do some IT work over here. So he needs my help." I'm not walking out of the building.
Sure.
But yeah, they were allowed to come and go as they pleased. And there were boxes of ballots on tables that were just right there. And these people were in and out. It was so chaotic. And then, so I actually have a friend, I'm not going to say his name.
Okay.
But when I was on night shift, I've known him for about 20 years. He walked past me and I'm like, "Oh, hey, what are you doing here?" He said, "Oh, I'm actually working here tonight." And I said, "Oh." And he's like, "Yeah, well, I hadn't seen that." He walked past me and then he went missing for like 2 hours. I was looking around, I couldn't find him. So a couple minutes later, I seen him sitting at one of the tabulator machines
Mm-hmm.
with his girlfriend, right?
And she wasn't working there?
She was working there, yeah.
She
She was working, but they were sitting together, which was really weird. I don't know, like,
okay.
whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. But so he said, I had just actually told my boss, I said, none of these people have been trained on night shift. I'm telling you that right now. I said, nobody knows what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, how do you know? And I said, I can tell. I know. I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, okay, whatever. And so I walked past the friend of mine, and he's like talking to me, and he goes, you know that we weren't even trained. He goes, I was trained to do the adjudication process. He's like, when I got here, they told us that they didn't have a job for any of us to do. And they brought us all upstairs to clean coffee machines and brought us back down. And he's like, they sat us at these machines. He's like, we don't even know what we're doing. And I said, wow.
Well, I'm sorry. Continue. Continue.
No, that was.
Okay, so what is the adjudication process? What is that portion of the poll watching?
Okay, so the adjudication process is when a ballot cannot be read properly again.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't know if the voter meant to vote straight Republican or straight Democrat. Okay. So they take one Republican and one Democrat worker, and they sit them both at a computer, and they pull up on the computer the whole ballot.
Okay.
And they are to judge that ballot together and come up with a conclusion on what the voter meant. Well, right when night shift started, let me tell you this, it took them 2 hours from 7 to 9 for the night shift to even get there and settle at their stations.
Wow.
They were just everywhere. And then, excuse me, right when the first 2 women for the adjudication process showed up, they sat down, and I heard the first woman say to another woman, are you a Republican or are you a Democrat? And she said, a Democrat. And she replied, well, so am I. And they both sat together.
Wow.
And that had to have been going on too.
Yeah.
At numerous stations, because they were going through the ballots too quickly. You know, they weren't even like really judging them. They were just, you know, it was like
that would allow for them to choose Democrat every single time.
Absolutely. That would, of course. That's why there has to be a Republican and a Democrat.
Yeah.
That's why, you know.
So with the ballots coming off from the trucks, you know, it was reported that there was like an influx of a couple 100,000 ballots. I mean, did it look like the ballots that were coming in were sealed properly? Like, were they in the privacy envelopes, or were they coming in just as, you know, fresh blank ballots, or were they ballots that were filled out but not sealed up?
You're talking about the mail-in ballots, correct?
Yes. Well, because I mean,
they were sealed. Yep. They were sealed.
Okay.
From when I first got there, that's the first thing that when I was looking around, that's the very first thing I noticed, mm-hmm. is that the workers were starting they were starting to open these envelopes, and then they would take the ballot, and they would roll it, and like they would take a piece of paper like this, and they would roll it like that, you know, to get the creases out, because it has to go through the tabulator.
Yep.
So the less creases it has, the less chance it's gonna get stuck or jammed, right?
Sure.
So that's what they would do, and you know, I did see, you know, tables of workers doing that.
Okay.
But did I see them all? No, I did not see them all. Okay. You know, I did see, you know.
Did you see anything? I mean, we've seen a lot of videos recently of people working in these places and openly tearing up ballots for Donald Trump or disqualifying ballots for Donald Trump. Was there anything like that going on there?
I would say the closest thing to that would have been when there were workers just walking up to the stage talking to Daniel Baxter. Like I said, he was really like he was in charge of the whole thing.
Sure.
They would ask him, what do I do with this ballot? And he'd say, just go grab a duplicate one.
Just go grab a duplicate one.
Right.
Just make it up.
And yeah. So to me, I would assume those were the Trump ballots that he was saying, just go, grab a duplicate one.
So, was there anything else that you saw that really, made you, stop and go, wow?
Yeah. So, there was a point where I overheard Samuel and Nick talking on the main stage in front of the computer where you input all the numbers, right? And Samuel said to Nick, we have a big problem, and apparently there was a big loss of data, and Nick's like they both got on their phones and they stepped off the stage, and I said to Nick, what's going on? And Nick's like, oh no, it's nothing. We have it figured out. And what I think happened is they just deleted it. They just deleted it and moved on. But a big loss of data.
There's no way to tell. I mean, unless they were to rescan all of the ballots, what would happen with the ballots after they were scanned? Would there have been any way to rescan them, or I mean, were they shredded?
Oh, no. Okay. So after the ballots were tabulated, you mean? Yeah. Okay. Well, scanned. Yeah. Okay. So
I'm sorry. I'm thinking like them. Yeah, the tabulator.
No. I'm sorry. So the process is that these ballots, which are now in batches of 50, they put a rubber band over them, and they put on. They put a piece of paper on top that says, it says 50 batch, and then how many votes for which, president, which I never saw those top papers. I saw them putting them in there, but so those batches went into steel. I had asked a couple people.
Melissa, we're starting to lose you.
What was that?
I said we were starting to lose you for a sec. You said that those bundled ballots would go into what?
They would go into a steel locked box.
Okay.
Okay. So these steel locked boxes became what they were using as a barricade for the challengers, so the challengers could not get close to the counters.
Okay.
And as the ballots, they got more ballots, they got more steel boxes and stacked them higher and higher. And it was like I said, a barricade, so they couldn't get close or see.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah.
And so is that the last thing that you saw that you really felt was improper?
Let me just make sure.
Feel free to reference the.
Sorry.
No, you're okay. You're okay. I mean, it's a lot to take in.
Oh, it really is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did call the FBI on November 5th. I did not know where to go with all this information. I didn't know who to speak to. I had no idea. So
Okay.
I called the FBI. I made about a 2-hour report. One call got disconnected, and they call you back. They have your phone number.
Right.
She never called me back. I had to call back, and I had to sit on hold again and give, my statement again. And they were supposed to call me back with that, and they never did. They never called me back.
Wow.
Oh, here's a big one.
Okay.
So I got an email from the manager that hired me. His name is David Stahl.
Okay.
Just 2 days ago, and it was real early in the morning, and he said, Melissa, I just want to let you know we didn't get your timesheets yet. He said, can you please fill those out for us and send them to us?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yeah, sure, no problem, And he said, oh yeah, by the way, can you send me your resume too? He said, and if you have references, whatever. He said, we're going to be doing a really big software update, and I would like you to work on that for us.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, because this is after I had already heard that they were using the excuse that it was a software glitch.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, wow, so they're trying to get rid of the information. They're trying to get rid of the software.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So has anyone from the FBI followed up with you, or anyone from the federal government?
They have not. No, they have not.
Okay. And how did Hannity and Fox find out about this story? Did you approach them, or did they reach out to you?
So that's kind of a long story.
Okay.
I went to a protest the next day. I think it was the 5th.
Okay.
The steal your ballot. Stop the steal.
Stop
the steal. Yeah, and
Brandon strike and all that.
Brandon.
The walkaway people.
The walkaway people.
Yeah. Brandon Straka.
So I
was at one the other day too.
Yeah. Oh, you were there?
I was in Lansing, Michigan. But
okay. Yeah. I got there a little late. So right when I walked up, I saw Melissa. I'm not gonna say her last name.
Okay.
And then Bobby, which they have just been great. They really, they have political ties, and they really pushed me in the right direction, and got me to the right people.
We met Patrick Colbeck. That led to the
yeah, Patrick Colbeck,
former senator.
Okay.
Patrick
All right.
Colbeck.
He just had an affidavit today.
Yeah, so he just sent in my affidavit today. That's going
He had one.
will be, and his, which mine will be in court tomorrow. And
Okay.
he was a poll challenger too.
Okay. All right. Good. So
Great.
it is getting to the right people.
I do believe it is. It will be. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, I mean, obviously, I think the president and his legal team need to know about this. I would hope that maybe somebody from that legal team might reach out to you. You could be a witness here to the fraud taking place in Michigan. Obviously, there is going to be court cases here in Michigan. I know that we've got them in Pennsylvania, I think in Wisconsin as well, Arizona. So it's going to be all over the country. Melissa, can you think of anything else that you saw that you think people need to know about or that we missed?
I think I really covered it.
Okay.
I just, this election really is, obviously, I believe it's the most important election of our lifetime. And, it means a lot to me. And, I just want to make sure people get the right information and know about what happened and what's going on, you know.
Definitely. Well, I mean, I can't say how happy I am that you were there. If you hadn't been there, then perhaps none of this information would have come out. I think it's a travesty that nobody else in the media wants to talk to you about this. I mean, this is pretty obviously some shocking behavior, and, it just makes me wonder how many other elections has this sort of thing happened. How many other candidates got screwed? How many other, how many other citizens of the country, were disenfranchised because their votes didn't count, or, it was replaced with a vote that whoever it was working at the polls wanted to put in there.
Absolutely.
So, probably tens of thousands of votes for Donald Trump in Michigan just completely wiped off the rolls. It's shocking.
Absolutely. Yes. It definitely is.
All right. Well, hopefully you can stay in contact with me. And, if there is follow-up from the federal government or from the president's team, I would love to hear about it. I know that the audience would love to hear about it. Let me just see if anybody had any questions, if they sent any super chats. And we'll see. Okay, nothing on Cash App. And nothing on PayPal. Okay, nobody's got any questions. Looks like we covered it. So once again, Melissa, thank you very much for joining me. And like I said, just make sure that we keep in touch. And then if there's anything else that develops in this, then we'll get it out for you.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. All right, you guys, thanks a lot for being here. I know this was an impromptu stream. I will go ahead and pass out the treasure chest on DLive, and we will see you guys for the next show. That'll be tomorrow at 6 p.m. for Red Pill News, and then I'll be back on Thursday at 1:30 for Occam's Razor. Good luck, everyone, and God bless. We'll talk to you soon, Melissa.
Thank you.